Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. I am Vidya and I'm your host for today. Today's session on starch-based biomaterial compounding will be covered by two speakers, Tausif Ahmed and Dr. Prakash Hadimani. Tausif will give an introduction about Steer and its businesses. He handles the twin screw extruder, also known as TSC, business for India and Middle East Asia region. Dr. Prakash Hadimani, our main speaker for today, will cover the technical aspects of starch-based biomaterial compounding. Prakash has completed his master's in polymer science and technology and has a PhD in polymer blend. He heads the Application Development Center at Steer headquarters in Bangalore. You will also find a Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens. Please drop in and ask your questions. Dr. Prakash will answer them at the end of today's webinar. Please also participate in the polling questions at every break. We will have 3 such questions and we'll really appreciate if you can respond to each one of them. Without further ado, let's now go over to Tausif to commence today's webinar.
Thank you, Vidya, for the nice presentation, introduction. And once again, from Steer team, I will welcome all the participants for today's webinar, which is based on starch-based biomaterial compounding. Steer is a creator of advanced material platform technology. We focus on developing advanced material which serves our society, industrial society, or even the nation. So it effectively transforms functionalized materials in the field of plastics, pharmaceuticals, food, nutraceuticals, biomaterials, and biorefining. So some of the core peoples who drive our organization, who directs our organization, and help us to achieve our goals are Dr. Babu Padmanabhan, who is our MD and Chief Knowledge Officer. He is the founder of Steer Group. He's contributed for 100 plus patents which Steer has achieved. It is in a different stage of approvals. He is a creator of disruptive continuous manufacturing technologies. And Mr. Satish Padmanabhan is a joint managing director. He leads the corporate service group, and he is also a person who directs to the whole group for in the emerging business of Steerward. Mr. Subodh Jindal is a global CEO. He is having more than 20 plus years of experience in managing businesses, and he is expertise in material science, life science, and market models. And also, he is a certified Six Sigma Black Belt with strong process orientation. Mr. Sanjay Shah is the Chief Businessing Officer. He leads India, SAARC, Middle East, and Europe region from the business point of view. Or he is having more than 30 years experience in the field of raw material, machinery, and additives. He also have experience in sales, business development, project planning, and investment. So he's having wide area of expertise. As you can see, Steer is a company which have global presence across the world. To give you some numbers, we have more than four global offices, which our main office is in India. Apart from that, we have office in North America, China, and Japan. At these global offices, we have our application development centers. We have 2 manufacturing unit, Bangalore in India being the headquarter, and we have 1 more unit in Coimbatore. Apart from this, we have 10 satellite offices. We are a strong team of 500 plus employees. We have 400, as I briefed, 100 plus patents are applied from Steer, and some of them are already approved. We have a global presence with 850 plus extruders worldwide. We are proud to say that we are the only machine manufacturing company who have vertical integration right from their own steel development till the extruder building. So we have a foundry and casting in Coimbatore where we develop our own foundry material MOCs. And then we build our machines in-house. So 90% of our activity happens in-house. So we have our own proprietary metallurgy. We develop our own element barrel shaft equipments. And then we also have our own facility for gearbox, feeders, for panel manufacturing. We have 3 model platforms called Omega, Mega, and Alpha. And we also cater for pharma and food process. And we take up plant engineering for all the sectors like plastic, pharma, and food intermediate. We serve this for the industries like polymer, biomaterials, powder coat, construction, pharmaceutical, food. Polymer being the main industry where we have highest presence. we supply machines for applications like engineering plastic, PP compounding, color master batch, recycling polymers. Apart from this, we have a segment like biomaterials, where as today's topic is more related to this. So we have supplied machines for applications like PLA, PVAT, compounds, starch-based compounds. We have a presence in powder coat, which is mainly into paint industry. So they use twin screw extruder. And construction business, also we have long glass fiber type of reinforced PVC, which serves for construction area. We have a separate division called Steer Life, which manufactures machines for pharmaceutical industry. All major pharma industries in the world are using our machine. And we have a separate segment where we cater is food, where we supply machines for cereals, snacks, meat analogs, food intermediates. These are some of the examples, is not limited to that. As I briefed, we have 4 global locations where we have our application development centers, mainly for main one being in India. Apart from that, we have in China, USA, Japan. This is the center where customers bring their material, do the trials, and see their material getting processed in presence. They can feel it, they can test the results, they can get satisfied. After that, go towards the investment of the extruder. We have 3 different Steer have 3 different platforms of product: Alpha, Mega, and Omega. The difference is based on the DO by DI. So Alpha being 1.49 DO by DI, it is more suitable for high shear application. That's why it is popular for applications like color master batch or recycling recycling, which requires greater mixing. Whereas Mega is quite popular globally because of its DO by DI 1.55, which is more commonly available across the world. It is suitable for torque limited and shear required type of applications. Some of them are engineering, polymer, plastics, master batch, and PET. So these are applications which Mega is popular for. And Omega is a proprietary design from Steer, which have a DO by DI of 1.71. It is suitable for low bulk density, low SME, and low shear applications. This is one of the most sold platform from Steer, quite popular across the world. So it is suitable for applications like filler master batch, shear sensitive applications, color master batch, and today what we are talking bio applications where it is very shear sensitive. For such type of applications, Omega is useful. So today's webinar, why it is important? Because of this following points. These are the opportunities. There is an emerging opportunity in starch-based compounding, which is driving the industry to look at TPS as a future growing segment. So to number some, plastic consumption stands at 500 billion single-use plastic annually. And right now, as you all know, there is a complete banning of single-use plastic from various governments. So that is driving for an alternative type of material development. A global thermoplastic starch market right now, as per 2019, it stands at 179 kilo metric ton. The market is expected to reach year-on-year 7% growth. The film segment is one of the major area which have more than 48% of the market share in the TPS. And starch-based blends with PLA segment holds more than 50% in the global bioplastic market. And Asia Pacific region being a low-cost producing hub, it will see a tremendous demand from the global location once the single-use plastic become completely banned. So this is then an opportunity for the whole Asia Pacific region to take this as a new area of working. TPS is suitable for bags, films, 3D print applications. Many countries, as I briefed, many countries started banning single-use plastic. This is an opportunity for all of the Asia Pacific region to grab this opportunity. So as per Packaging Industry Association of India, the packaging sector in India itself will grow at 22 to 25%. So all these factors are driving thermoplastic starch market to have a tremendous growth in the future. In this webinar, we will be like to talk about the product technologies and its best conversion possibilities from the Steer point of view. So I will from here on, I will request Dr. Prakash to take over and take you through the thermoplastic starch application and Steer's capability, what we have done and our expertise. Dr. Prakash, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tosif. Nice introduction about Steer, what Steer is doing, and what is the Steer capability. And you made me my life easier. You already covered the most of what Steer business and all. And my job is to explain about what's STEER technology and what is the difference between standard technology versus FGT technology. And this standard technology over a period of last 40 years, Adminger profiles. We call it as a standard kneading block. There are 3 standard kneading blocks. One is right-hand kneading block. Second one is neutral kneading block. Third one is left-hand kneading block. The Adminger has introduced 40 years back, but not much change on the screw elements. From last 40 years, many of them using, and they are many processor or compromise themselves to run the new developments, whether it comes to shear sensitive materials, and they try to run in the lower RPM. But many of the extruder, last 20th century extruders are built higher torque, higher RPM, and they are capable of handling even many engineering plastics, sensitive materials. But there are fear to go over 1200 RPM, and many processor having a issue of there is a degradation, polymer degradation. Like there are shear sensitive materials like non-halogen flame retardants, and then biomaterials, pearl pigments that cannot be processed because of the following reasons. Any new development is compromising themselves, try to run at 600 RPM. And the peak shear rate that will decompose the flame retardant materials like halogen, non-halogen flame retardant, biopolymers, and the biopolymer starts degrading and form a black speck. And the restriction of higher screw speed, many processor start running at 600 RPM because of peak shear. And unstable residence time distribution. There's no control on the residence time distribution, and shear rate is not uniform by using standard technology. There is a variation in the wave. And that leads to increase in the melt temperature. That melt temperature leads to reduce the mechanical property. To overcome these, STEER had introduced fractional geometry technology. The advantage of Omega is a fractional geometry technology. It had lower temperature, narrow, constant clearance between screw to screw, and higher torque and higher output, and it is self-wiping. And the DO by DI is 1.71, is deeper groove, so that OD and ID, and in between we call it a shovel. It controls peak shear, enable to higher output and higher screw speed. Today webinar, we are going to discuss more on thermoplastic biomaterials. Thermoplastic biomaterials mixed with starch, what is the behavior? And we have did the case studies on standard technology versus FGT technology. What are biorefineries? Biorefineries mainly on carbohydrates. It contains sugar, starch, and cellulose. These are the primary chemicals, and also lignin, proteins, and fats. And the secondary or the intermediate products are alcohol, organic acids, sugar, and sugar derivatives. If you classify the biodegradable of the polymers, if you come to the third category, third group, the petroleum-based products or PET, ABS, there are many, but we need both. We need petroleum-based product, okay, and also biodegradable polymer. We need to manage both, because where you need the petroleum product stay for a longer period of time, there is no biodegradable, but only loses its mechanical property when you do the recycling. But when you go for automotive applications, it stays for a longer, at least more than 5 years. But biodegradable polymer, within 2 to 3 months, it loses its property. Okay, that is biodegradable polymer. We need to manage both because biodegradable polymers are user friendly, and when you bury it into the soil, it will within a span of 1.5 months, it loses its mechanical property. That is, in the first quarter, you say that there are starch-based polymers, PLA, PHA, and PHBA, and then PBAT. These are user-friendly, earth-friendly biopolymers. When it comes to the fourth one, there is both 50-50. There is a combination of 50% of biopolymer, like a starch-based, and then there are petroleum-based product like a PE, and it gives you at least 50% of degradation. Not 100%, it gives you 50% degradation. That option also there in the fourth category. Why do you need biomaterials? Biomaterials are it's degradable, biodegradable, readily available, lower cost, eco-friendly, and minimize the waste. For that, biomaterials are had advantages. Biodegradable starch-based applications. There are some examples. It makes containers and food packaging, and also carry bags, and where you have starch formed packaging applications. These are some examples can be utilized for a biodegradable starch-based application. In this case study, we have used PLA, polylactic acid. Second one is polybutylene adipate co-terphthalate, PBAT, and the last one is starch. We use 3 materials. The PLA is aliphatic polyester derived from renewable sources of, this is a biodegradable. Again, PLA had higher modulus but brittle in nature. Difficult to get the flexibility. Elongation is lower in the PLA. The PBAT is aliphatic and aromatic copolyester. This is 100% biodegradable, but it had better elongation and lower in tensile strength and flexural modulus. But if you want to have both, then we need to do the blending of PLA and PBAT to get the required mechanical property. And starch is a naturally available, like for example, corn and corn starch and rice starch. There are many. And it is 100% biodegradable, also get better elongation and flexibility. When we are processing the TPS starch, there are some challenges during the processes. What are those challenges? One is hopper flooding. When you try to feed starch from the intake and there is a hopper flooding, it chokes the hopper and difficult to process. This is one challenge. Second one is these are sensitive to the temperature. When you are running at higher RPM and using standard technology, the black specks and its color changes in the final product. And if you apply a little bit high shear peak, the say sensitive because it's sensitive to the temperature, it forms foaming and rough surface. That shows the starch was not dispersed completely in the PBAT. Today case studies where there are many combinations we did. First combination is PBAT and starch. The starch we have added up to 50 to 80 weight% with the PBAT. Second is PLA starch. The starch concentration we have added 20 to 50 weight%. And the third category, PBAT with a mineral filler. In the mineral filler, we went up to 60 weight%. One is we have used calcium carbonate mineral and also talc mineral. These two we have utilized by using PBAT. And the PBAT wood powder and also lignin, we use up to 40% of filling of wood powder and the lignin. And finally, lastly, we use LLDP and starch. LLDP is not biodegradable, starch is biodegradable. We went up to 38% of filling, and also we process. This was the extrusion setup we have used, and we have used 40 millimeter H class, the kilowatt 135, maximum screw speed 1200, and the specific torque was 16.8 and DOVDI 1.71. And we have used both the technology, standard and FGT technology. We collected all the samples and extruded, and finally that sample and fabricated in injection molding and did the specimen. We did the characterization. The next slide, we are going to discuss on the characterization. When you use a standard and FGT technology, we observed standard technology after 50% of starch loading, and we observed the rough surface and also the foaming, and means the starch was started gelatinizing inside the extruder. That shows, and the foaming was starts and difficult to control in the standard technology. The same the product we use for FGT technology. You see here, we have smooth surface and the strands was and dispersed strands, smoother in the surface, and also no rough surface and no foaming we observed by using FGT technology. Also, we have achieved higher throughput and in the higher RPM. I will explain about the phenomena and the effect of using these two elements like FGT technology elements. One is a melt formation element, second is fractional mixing elements. The melt formation elements helps you highly effective uniaxial and biaxial stirring as well as distributive flow into the PBAT and the starch. And ability to stretch, fold, and squeeze the material in a tightly controlled kneading cycle. The melt formation element does that. And it had a shorter lead angle to increase the frequency of the folding. Shorter lead helps to increase the frequency of the folding and elongation. And it also reduces the peak shear and improves the uniformity of the mixing in the PBAT and starch. The addition of starch, when it comes to the FME, the function of FME, what it did, the addition of starch and polyester resin improves the elongation flow by using FME elements, and the FME fractional mixing elements improve starch wetting of with the PBAT with the biomaterials and reduces the water intake into the final compound. And it also reduces shear peaks and in the TPS compounds and reduces lower melt temperature, increases the miscibility of the final product and increases mechanical property. And we observed in the morphology study, we observed the better dispersion of these two blends by using melt formation elements and fractional mixing elements.
Thank you, Prakash. Let's now go over to the first poll question. Please select your answers from the list of options displayed on your screen. Do you anticipate a substantial growth in future for bioplastics or starch-based products in packaging industry? You have 30 seconds to select your answer. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see the results. And 6% say not sure. Also, if you have any questions on the ongoing webinar, please drop into the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens and kindly ask your questions. All right, now let's go back to Dr. Prakash to continue with the webinar.
Thank you, Vidya. Okay. Now, after compounding by using, this is all FGT technology, what we have used, and those are the pellets. And we have started the addition of starch 30%, 38%, and 70% is a PBAT. These are the pellets. You see the pellets, we didn't observe any black specks or no color changing on the pellets. And we observe the miscible pellets, means there is a homogeneous pellets, no rough surface. And if it comes to 50-50, means starch 50% and 50% PBAT. Here also, no color changing. It retains a color, better dispersion and miscibility for the both the blend. There is no black speck, no rough surface. And when it comes to 70% of starch, no change. And in 2080, 80% starch, we observe slight change in the color, but it was good. And up to 50-50%, we could able to make the blown film and get better elongational flow. And at 70% of starch and 80%, this application, because of the viscosity, we could not able to make a blown, but these two blends can be utilized for an injection molding. Finally, we went for sheet line and injection molding. They like where you have spoons and all. Those things can be utilized for the other applications. Where you want to carry bags and all, 50-50 is a good amount. And we'll try to make it 65 so that to get the better results in the blown film. The morphology study we observed at 50-50 and also 30-70, 70% starch. In the 50-50, the morphology shows the complete homogeneous dispersion of this PBAT. You observe there is the layer, this layer shows the PBAT layer. There is an in between small dots. You can observe these are starch powder. That shows the complete homogeneous, no fractured surface, means there is a homogeneous in the blend. That's why that could able to no voids, increase better elongation and other impact strength. These two was observed. And at 30-70, at 70% starch, because only 30% of PBAT, we could observe slight fractured surface on, because the polymer content is less, the viscosity increases, but the distribution dispersion was very good, because the starch, you see the starch particles here, these are the starch particles distributed and dispersed completely. Okay, and we, even though we get reduced in the elongational strength, but we are getting better other property like tensile and other properties, so that can be utilized for a injection molding applications. When it comes to the PLA and starch, we have already explained. I already explained about the PLA. PLA is brittle in nature, but we are getting better tensile strength, flexural modulus. Addition of 20% starch can be get better dispersion. You see no change in the black particles, nothing. It maintains surface smoothness and better color in terms of even at 30% starch. But only in the 50-50% starch, we observe slight color change in the final compound, because the addition of starch increases the viscosity of the final compound. This compound we cannot able to, it's difficult to make blown film, and finally we could able to make it the injection molded particles and sheet lines. Now, we are going for a PBAT and the mineral filler. Mineral filler, we are talking about one is talc and the calcium carbonate. Now, this slide, we are discussing about the talc addition. When you add talc 30% and 40%, it shows there is an increase in the mechanical property. The surface was smooth and there is a homogeneous mixing for the PBAT and the starch. You see the morphology study, it gives us the distribution of talc. These are the white particles you observe. These talc completely distributed and dispersed in the PBAT at 50 and 50% weight. And the PBAT and calcium carbonate, here also similar. The dispersion was good. We had a smooth surface, good pellets at 30 and 40%, but we observed slight bigger particles in the calcium carbonate, and that shows lower in the mechanical property because there we observed we got the better distribution and dispersion, but still the particles are bigger in the calcium carbonate. And we did the blown film for PBAT, calcium carbonate, 70-30 combination and 60-40 combination, even in talc. No challenges we observed, and it was very smooth running of the carry bags and no black speck, and dispersion was fantastic. And these are the blown film photos. And you see that 30% calcium and 30% talc in the both the cases. The result shows of PBAT with the calcium carbonate and talc separately. At 30% of calcium carbonate with PBAT and 40% calcium carbonate, the trend shows there is a slight addition of calcium carbonate increases the impact strength. You see the increase in the impact strength from 30 kilojoules per meter square to 34. But if you compare these two, calcium carbonate talc giving a better mechanical property because 30% of talc giving 44.63 kilojoules per meter square, and further addition of 10% like 40%, 51.38 of the impact strength. That indicates that talc is giving better mechanical property compared to calcium carbonate. But when we come to flexural modulus, the stiffness what we are talking about is the same trend here also. The calcium carbonate addition with the PBAT shows 171 megapascal, but the addition of 40% talc gives you almost 3 times the result of calcium carbonate compound. You see here 452 megapascal at PBAT and talc 40%. When in PBAT and calcium carbonate 40%, 171 megapascal. It's almost twice we are getting in the mechanical property. If you compare both, we observe there is an increase addition of calcium carbonate with a virgin PBAT polymer. The tensile is 8.2. Addition of calcium carbonate definitely increases to up to 10.17 megapascal. But when it comes to the talc, the further increase compared to even for the PBAT with the calcium carbonate. And even impact strength increases. And the addition of talc and calcium, we observe here, there is an increase in density. Density of the pellets increases, increase in flexural modulus, and increase in impact strength. Addition of talc gives you increase in impact and increase in flexural modulus and increase in tensile strength.
Thank you, Prakash. Let's now move on to the second poll question. Please select your answer from the list of options displayed on your screen. Would you be interested to have one-on-one discussion about your new product development using FGT technology? You have about 30 seconds to answer this question. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see the results. 66% say yes, interested, and 34% say maybe later. Also, if you have any questions on the ongoing webinar, please drop into the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screens and please ask your questions. Let's go back to Dr. Prakash to continue with the webinar.
Thank you, Vidya. Okay, now we move to the lignin and PBAT category now. And later we'll cover the wood powder and PBAT. See, interestingly, lignin powder, this PBAT is a recycle again. Lignin is a virgin powder. And if you compound, we compounded PBAT with the lignin, and these are the pellets. We observe the pellets were very good and smooth surface, no voids in the pellets, and the pellets are glossy. And we observed the improvement in the mechanical property of this product. Because if you add a lignin add as a adhesive, but again it improves your lubrication. When you mix with any polymer, and it reduces shear rate. And this morphology study, what we understood by using this PBAT and the lignin pellets, we observed the PBAT and lignin, 70 and almost 30% of lignin powder using FGT technology. We observed the better distribution and dispersion of lignin into the PBAT. But in the case of the standard technology, it was not distributed completely. It was going to the one corner and distribution was very bad. Later we understood in the mechanical property, the property was reduced in the standard technology. Means still you can, the dispersion quality was very poor in the standard technology. When you are talking about rheology study, the addition of the lignin, the thermal stability increases. If you see the graph, the PBAT is the material. It is showing here the stability. When the addition of lignin, 17% and 29%, there is a slight increase in the thermal stability. And same times, I already explained you about lignin helps on the lubrication part. You see here, it is addition of lignin reduces the shear rate. And when it comes to the viscosity, addition of lignin, there is an increase in the viscosity of the final compound. It is PBAT, final viscosity is here. The addition of lignin slightly increases, the viscosity is going up to this. When it comes to the mechanical property, the impact strength of, we compare the standard versus FGT here. When the standard showing the impact strength 36.7 kilojoules per meter square, and the FGT, the same combination, FGT provide 39.48. When in the flexural modulus, addition of lignin increase in the flexural modulus. When you compare to the standard, FGT giving a best results of flexural modulus. This is FGT 239 megapascal, and FGT is giving the standard 289. When you compare both to standard and these, the FGT gives better impact strength and flexural modulus compared to our standard technology. When we come to the wood powder, the PBAT and wood powder, we process using our omega 40H class pin screw. And the PBAT and wood powder, we started 20% feeding of wood powder again and 30%. But dispersion was good. And dispersion was good. No black speck, no color changing. It retains the virgin color of the wood. And we got better impact strength by using this. No fractured surface in the pellets. When you compare these two, addition of wood powder from 20% to 30%, the tensile strength increasing by using FGT technology. Also, if you see the flexural modulus, almost twice the flexural modulus, 20 to 30%, just 10% increase in the wood powder, it increases the flexural modulus 812 megapascal, is almost double. That shows the flexural modulus increasing by addition of wood. Finally, we conclude the FGT technology showed higher concentration of starch addition with the PBAT. Starch gives up to 80% of addition, just 20% of PBAT. And this was not happened in the standard technology. Standard technology stop at 50-50, means only 50% of starch. But FGT provides almost 80% of starch addition. The FGT technology showed higher mechanical property and better miscibility of PBAT and starch final compound. Addition of and FGT technology also showed higher mechanical property for most of the cases compared to the standard technology. The addition of wood powder and lignin powder increases tensile strength and flexural modulus and impact strength. The addition of lignin powder and PBAT increases impact and flexural modulus using FGT technology compared with the standard technology. And finally, we did the compound using starch-based LLDPE and 30% of starch compounding. No black speck. See here, there is no black speck. The dispersion was good. And we carry out mechanical property, and we got the better mechanical property and also better blown film by using this compound.
All right, let's see what we have on the third poll question. Please select your answers from the list of options displayed on your screen. Would you be interested to have one-on-one discussion on thermoplastic starch compounding? You have about 30 seconds to answer this question. All right, 3, 2, and 1. Let's see the results. 70% say yes, and 30% say maybe later. So with this poll, we have come to end of this session. Thank you, Dr. Prakash and Tausif. On behalf of STEER, we thank all of you for participating in today's webinar. Let's now move on